What's going on, everybody? How's everybody doing out there? Had a little technical problem there to start out. That's always awesome. But, the show must go on, right? For some reason, my my laptop decided to join a hotspot, and we were trying to stream on cellular. Not a good look. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome down to our RCF ART9 Series product and buying guide. Want to say hello to everybody. It is Tuesday, January 10th, 2023, here in New York at the DJ's Guru Studio. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in on Facebook, on Twitch, and on YouTube. Today, we're going to go through every single one of the wonderful and glorious ART9 Series point source, full range, two-way, whatever you want to call them, powered active speakers. And these were debuted about 2 years ago now. Pretty much couldn't get them for the first, 6 months. And then from that point, there were certain SKUs that were almost impossible to get all of last year. And we're fortunate now to have some decent stock. And as the year is opening up here, we wanted to go through everything to make sure everyone understood what the differences were. And because the 9 series has, we'll look at it again here. This is only 3, the 910, the 932, and the 945, but we also have a 912, a 935 on top of that. And not everyone understands what all these numbers mean, what the differences are. So we put out a great article at thedjsguru.com. Highly recommend checking that out. And it basically is going to give you all the words, essentially. Here you go, that we're going to talk about here today. But everything is there for you. And if you have any questions after this, you could always go to our blog here at thedjsguru.com. But we'll go through everything for you now. So the first thing is, how's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing wonderful today on Tuesday. Hope everyone's having a great beginning of the year. Hope that business is good, starting off hot. Make sure you are checking us out at thedjsguru.com, following us on all social media at The DJ's Guru. Of course, if you have any questions throughout this broadcast or on the replay, drop your questions down below. And thank you to our sponsors at djsupplystore.com. And what's up to RCF and all of our Team RCF people out there? Today, we're going to go through the RCF ART9 Buying Guide. So, are you looking to upgrade your sound? Really the first question. If you are, this is a really great option for you. And if you're looking to upgrade your sound, RCF really upgraded the lineage of the ART series. And this is now the newest version of a speaker box that goes back to, I want to say 94, and has progressed and changed. The 7 series is still available. It's still being manufactured. This is now an upgrade to that. They lowered the price point of the 7 series, and this has advanced improvements from there. We'll talk about those for you really quickly. Some of the upgrades are the cabinet design. I mean, the big thing was that people were ready for that wedge look. They were looking for a full front grille. So the cabinet design was changed on the 9 series. You have a much bigger and larger new compression driver at 1.75 inch. So it is up to 10 times stronger than previous models. Bass motion control, one of my favorite things about this new series, and it's a very smart idea. Bass motion control essentially is a mechanism and a sensor within the box that actually measures the physicality of the woofer. If all songs are recorded differently, and the speaker will understand essentially that, okay, this song needs to go a little bit louder. And even though if it was a digital compression only and you didn't have this bass motion control, it's going to stop it at a certain level. But with bass motion control, it can understand that because of the physicality of the woofer, it has more to go, and it'll extend that compression before you start to hear that digital stuff kind of pop in like you might with other speakers. So it's going to really allow you to push the speakers as much as you possibly can without necessarily blowing them. It's, I don't know many people that have blown an RCF speaker. It's definitely a great feature, and this is just something new that they've added on. Of course, you have the fur phase technology, and then you have an all-new EQ and mixer section, and I have some speakers here that I'm going to show you later, but that's essentially the major upgrades. And if you're not familiar with what fur phase technology is, fur phase technology is pretty much a filter, a digital filter that RCF has used and created through many years that basically takes all of the frequency ranges and gets them to a point to where they reach the user, the end user, the listener, at the same time. So if you've ever heard of an RCF speaker, the big thing is, and I talk about this all the time, it's a very clean, balanced sound, and it's fur phase technology that really, light on me here, really allows it to do that. So that's fur phase technology, and those are some of the upgrades and advancements of the ART9 series from previous models. So the first one you want to talk about is the ART910. And here are some, also just a couple of pictures for you. This is an all-new wedge design, so you have the ability to use it as a two-way. You have the ability to also use it as a floor monitor, which you really haven't had that ability as easily before. I personally used the 910 as a floor monitor. It worked fantastic. And now with the new built-in EQ system, here's a 910 here. And you can see here on the back, right here, it now has 3 presets in there for EQ. You have essentially a flat preset, a boost, and then you have a floor mount preset floor mount, what that's going to do is that's going to actually remove some of the low end. So that way it's a much better stage monitor for people that are using it in band application or live singing, whatever it may be. But it's just a very versatile design. And that's kind of what the back looks like. So we'll talk first about the 910. And if you have any questions, definitely. What's up, Devin? How are you? Definitely drop down below. Say hello. Always appreciate the DJ's Guru fam checking in. Any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. So with the 910, take you some pictures of it here. Here's the back again. One thing to be aware of with the 910, actually, here's it open. 910 doesn't actually have any side handles. It only has handles on the top. So be aware, because it's a smaller size, because of the way most people are going to deploy this, and everything, and the look, I don't know, they made a decision to just put the speaker handle at the top. I've used this a lot, mostly now as a DJ monitor, but it's never been an issue for me. I mean, the 932 is significantly heavier, and every other model has the side handles. So I think it's just a matter of the weight. I want to pull up real quickly over here all of the specifics just to make sure I have everything correct for you. I pretty much know it by heart, but why guess, right? All right. So 130 dB max SPL sound pressure level. SPL, sound pressure level. That's really loud, okay? I want to say that again. And the weight on this, I don't know, it looks like it's heavy because of the way I'm struggling with it here. Only 38 pounds. Only 38 pounds. 2100 watt digital amplifier built in here. 1.75 inch compression driver, like we said, with a 10-inch woofer. Okay. And let me tell you something. I'm going to literally talk till I'm blue in the face about using speakers and sound as tools. This is a fantastic tool. And I think that every DJ in the world at some point thought, and I'll tell you, when I had a car, I didn't want to get a sub in the back, but what did I get? A lot of people did this. I got 6x9s, right? But it really, now that I think about it, it really didn't sound that great. It almost was like I had like subs in the back, but it really didn't. And that's kind of like what the DJ 15-inch speaker idea is, I think. And I used to have 15s too. And you think bigger is better, and you're lugging around these big, heavy boxes. And then you live with a speaker like this that is, like I said, 38 pounds. I'm looking for the dimensions here. 24 by 14 by 15. So it's only 2 feet high. Okay. It's really very small and compact. I have done, I've done venues with this and a pair of Evox 12 with 600 people. Now we were connected to the house system as well that had like JBL Control 25s around, and it wasn't really meant to be that loud that night, but in the 20 to by 30 area that we were in, it sounded fantastic. So, depending on what you're using and what the needs are, I also have used this at my daughter. I volunteer for the school. We do some stuff for the school, and we did in a gym. I used 2 of these for her Winter Olympics last year. And I will tell you this year I will bring the 932, and we'll talk more about that later. But they were quite impressive, and they died at a certain point, and that's why you want the more powerful compression driver. Again, we'll talk about that in a sec. But I was insanely surprised by how well they performed, and then I was kind of like in between the bleachers, so all the people were here The announcements were heard very clearly, and the sound for the people was great. It was for the people that were on the other side that probably couldn't hear it as well. But and you volunteer, you do what you can. But I will bring the 932s this year. So anyway, see, we got a question here. Anything I can answer? What's up, Joe? How are you, man? But the last thing was I've done a few outdoor events with sometimes one or two of these, and really, I don't see why you can't do the 80 to 100 person communion, any type of live sound, private PA sound application. If you're a small band, doing something like that, 100 people or less, maybe 120. It's all room dependent always. I don't understand why you would want to bring a pair of 15s and put them up on poles. This is just going to sound way cleaner, going to sound better. You're also going to save time, effort, your back strain. It's going to look better. 15s on a pole look silly to me now that I've used some of these other boxes. And the reality is the amplifier in this is basically the same as the one's more powerful than larger. So you're not really losing a lot as far as that. And it's just something that I really think people should start to think about and save those 15s for the larger events that maybe you think you need them for, or throw them out. I'm not a big fan of 15s anymore. So anyway, but no, don't throw out your speakers. I'm just kidding, of course. But telling you, 10s and 12s really will get you really far in life. So let's move on. And by the way, the 910, what's sub, right? So if you're gonna look for a sub to go with the 910, I would say that you could go with the 702. I think the 705 is the better fit. You could even go with a 905, believe it or not. And I got to be honest with you, I think you even go with an 8003 if you really wanted to go crazy. But either way, those would be the subs that I would recommend as far as which sub to go with the 910. Again, that's sub 705 from RCF, the 702, which is the 12-inch, the 705, which is the 15. They have a 718 as well. I think that though the with this box, I just think the 15 sounds better with it. It's just a cleaner sound to me. That's my recommendation. 905, 705. All right, so that's the 910. And who is it best for? We kind of talked about that already, but if you're a solo operator doing private events, sweet 16s, small weddings, bars. For a bar, these are perfect bar speakers. Your standard kind of dive bar with, not that huge. They're fantastic because they also, because of the clean sound, they're not going to blare in a bar atmosphere where, some people want to party, but there are some people that want to just sit down and not necessarily have to hear that extra loud, overt muddiness that you get with the 15. So I'm telling you, check out the 910 or just 10-inch in general. Oh boy. All right, so let's move on to the 912 and the 932. So I just was in conversation with a few people actually over the last couple of days, but I've got the 932 here. I'll bring it up in a minute, and I'll show you some quick pictures of it. Here's the 932. As you can see, it has the side handles. And here it is open with the larger woofer, right? But now the question becomes, all right, what is the difference between the 912 and the 932? I use the 932. I actually haven't used this now since November. It's sat because I don't always need it. And this is basically the answer to what the difference is. So obviously, we'll look at the specs really quick, and they're basically the same other than the compression driver. So ART910, and I'm checking this out at djsupplystore.com. Of course, these are in stock right now, the ART912. 130 dB max SPL, 2100 digital amplifier, 2100 watt digital amplifier. That's peak. 1.7 inch compression driver on the 912, 12-inch woofer, and then all the other features that we discussed. The 932, and also real quickly, just as far as the dimensions, we're talking 46 pounds and then 26 by 16 by 16. So a little bit taller, a little bit deeper and wider than the 910, obviously. And then you have side handles. But on the back, pretty much everything is exactly the same. The EQ, all that. It's just in a bigger box. Now, if we look at the quick specs, again, it's 46 pounds on the 912. Now, if I look at the 932, currently on a temporary back order. So these are going to give you an extra 2 dB at 132, which is from the compression driver, the larger compression driver. So they're going to give you a bump on your output, right? 2 dB. People will say, well, the average person can't hear that. And in front of the dance floor, 10, 20 feet away, you're not going to hear much of a difference. So the answer to the question that I gave to the customer that I was in communication with was, and this is always the question, what is your application? What are you doing? Not just this Saturday, but what do you do? What do you do mostly? What's your niche? And you're the event world. We all kind of find something that we like to do, we enjoy, and then we can find ways to monetize it if we're lucky. So if you're doing weddings, and that's what this gentleman was doing, I'm doing pretty much all weddings. I'm just looking to cover the dance floor. I'm not outside. I don't need to project really far distances. Then, the simple answer is the 912 is the right speaker. You're not going to hear the difference between a 912 and a 932 until you start to get back. They weigh the same, by the way, and they're the same height and dimensions. And what's kind of funny, as and to talk about how similar they are, and really the only difference is that compression driver. When I have when I went to RCF to grab the pictures under the 932, I pulled this picture, but it's labeled ART912 open. So literally inside is exactly the same from the front picture, right? So let's go back to my example of the gym that I was in. I brought the 910, 1.75 inch compression driver, same as the 912, right? Now, I didn't have as much oomph because I didn't have the 12-inch woofer, so that definitely hurt me. And then now that I have the 932, I understand that these are going to give me a little bit of a bump, more than a little bit of a bump on the output, on the throw, right? How far are these waveguides of sound going? And in the gym, and I'll report back, right? In the gym situation I was in, again, people eat up sound. We know this. Gyms are horrible. I mean, couldn't be much worse of an acoustical environment, right? And then there's screaming kids everywhere. So the sound's going. It sounds great to the left and the right of me, right in front. It's fantastic. And then, there's kids and everybody, and pretty much by the middle of the dance floor, the sound pretty much died, Now with the 932s, I'm going to be interested to see where this goes, but I know they're going to project it a lot farther. I know that they're going to be the right tool for this particular job. And that's really the way you have to think about it. So if you're in gyms a lot, if you're outdoors, that's where you're going to be deploying a 932. And I go back to there's no one size fits all speaker. I, again, have 910s. I have 932s. I have other speakers too. And I deploy them when necessary. The 932, like I just said, I haven't used it since I was at a theme park that we work with back in November. I haven't needed them. Why would I bring out the 932 to a place where the 910 is going to be fine? I'm going to blow people out, and I'm going to just have more juice than I need. So why kill my back? I'll save myself some weight and size and make it a little bit easier on that particular gig. So 912 versus 932 really comes down to what you're doing. And quite honestly, you can have both, and find that you'll use them in different situations, even at the same time. You know, point source speakers are fantastic because they have just like that 6x9 speaker that I mentioned before that was in the back of your car. It's got everything all in one shot, right? Low, medium, high, coming out at a 90x60 usual coverage. So it's very wide. It's very, this way, and it's very useful. So you could have 912s over here in front of the dance floor, and then you can space out 932s on the end of the dance floor or farther away to project to people that are sitting down. And I'm talking about if you're in a ballroom, right? That type of sound system is really the right way to run sound. Just the idea of, okay, I'm going to put it next to my DJ booth and then put it on the dance floor. Well, now you're putting sound this way. And then what about everybody over there and over there, right? So just, again, part of this conversation is talking about how to use these as well. So that's when you want to start to, and how you want to use the 912 versus the 1-inch compression driver, the 1.75-inch compression driver here versus the 3-inch. But in general, a lot of manufacturers have these different compression driver sizes. So that's when you want to ensure you're using the better one. But I don't necessarily agree with, just get the 932. You never know when you're going to use it. I mean, listen, it's your money, right? So I'm not here to tell you not to do that, but you're not really not going to hear the difference if you're only doing certain jobs. So, yeah, I mean, and there is a $899 versus $1,299. What is that? $400, right? So there's a big difference. Math's not my best subject, but excuse me, but it's your money, so you decide. That's $600 a pair, right? So anyway, that's the 912 versus 932. And I do have a 932 right here. You want to see me struggle? Here it is. First of all, it's beautiful, right? Definitely a beautiful, sexy looking speaker. Got handles on the bottom here. It's a big plastic box, right? But it's a very heavy duty type plastic, ABS, we'll call it. I hate. If you're a salesman, you never say plastic, you say ABS, right? But it is it's a different form of plastic. It is, and it's definitely more roadworthy, and it will be less resistant to scratches and stuff like that. I literally was going a little too fast over a bump and heard it jump in the back of my car, and there's no scratches, and it works just fine. I was just testing it before. So anyway, 932, this is the back. The big thing you got to know about RCF is, people that have coming from maybe the QSC world or something else that has RCA inputs and 9 different XLRs. And the 9 series does not have that. There is a new AX series that we'll talk about at another time that now has a 6-channel digital mixer built in, plus Bluetooth. There's a 10-inch that we're going to be real big on. I think that's going to be for a non-battery powered PA. I think it's going to be dynamite for, like an old guy, dynamite. It's going to be dynamite for mobile entertainers of all kinds, because it's going to I'll show it to you in a little bit, but has so much stuff built in. So got some comments. Oh my good Lord. What is going on? Getting spammed out. Not what I was expecting to see. Okay. Hey, you know what? We must be growing if I'm getting all this spam. That's good. All right. So let's now talk about, and does anyone have any questions while you're watching this now live or on the replay? Definitely drop them down below. Always happy to answer questions. Definitely drop them down there. And go to djsupplystore.com. I want to thank our sponsors there. All of these speakers are available Real-time inventory will show you if they're in stock or not. And we are offering a level up sale right now with code SAVE. Coupon code SAVE at the end at checkout. So if you are interested in making a purchase, definitely go there. And make sure you're checking us out at djsguru.com as well. All right. Back to the 915, 935, 945. The beast of the 15s. So listen, I'm not here to insult anybody or change their minds. I've been doing this long enough to know that I'm not here to change anybody's mind. That's not my business. I am not anyone that is anything other than just honest and transparent. And here's the information. Take it for what it's worth. And I don't really have any vested interest. I personally use RCF speakers since I started, before I started selling gear. So, so it's just organic for me. Plenty of other speaker brands that I love. Love Electro Voice. Love Yorkville. Mackie for value. Love it. And they've got some higher end stuff now that's fantastic. So I'm very objective, but let's talk about RCF because, you know, that's what I know best. Let's be honest. So anyway, 915, 935, 945. So if you are going to buy a 15, if that is what you want to buy, this really goes back to the whole compression driver conversation. And respectively, these are $9.99, $13.99, and $19.99. Okay. And if you have a question also about ART9 45 versus HDM 45 at the same price point, ART9 has better components. HDM 45A basically has the same specs. Components aren't as good as far as the exterior box and everything, but they offer the RDNet, which is RCF's online for computer system for touring and for controlling the sound if you're going to use digital processing. So those are the differences real fast for people that maybe want to know that. But 915 is really your standard 15 for the 9 series. It's fantastic. I have heard it. For me, if you're going to buy a 15, I always like the RCF 15s or even EV or Yorkville, like I mentioned earlier, and some of the Mackies that have the right processing going on, that at least understand that they have to eliminate some of that low end frequency because it's going to start to cancel the mid range and the highs. It fights against it. It's low end frequency. I learned this actually. It's pretty interesting information. Why is it low end frequency and why does bass rest lower to the ground? Because it takes more energy to create the sound. And then that sound thus is heavier. Believe it or not, the sound is heavier. So it lays lower to the ground. When that sound is heavy and is up here, that's why people will use words like muddy, it doesn't sound clean. It's heavy. There's a lot of energy in bass, right? So when you put it up here, we're not down here where we're meant to feel it, not hear it as much. It cannot sound as good. And that's what I always talk about, what I don't personally like. I really like a clean sound, and I like the bass to be felt and heard a little bit when it's not, when it's part of the song, right? That's me. So let's talk about the differences. Really, again, the compression driver. And we already talked about the 1-inch or 1.75 versus the 3-inch, but the 945 comes with a 4-inch compression driver. And then because of the size of the box, because of the way that it's designed, the SPL is kind of insane. So the 935, which is available in stock at DJ Supply Store, $13.99. 133 max SPL, 45 to 20,000 hertz range, and you're looking at a weight of 58 pounds. I'm sorry, it's package weight. 53 pounds. 53 pounds out of the box. So again, these 15-inch speakers are a lot bigger and heavier. 133 dB at $13.99. Now the 945, 135 dB. Weight basically the same. Actually, I gotta check out the specs on this, but the weight shown to be about the same. And I'll tell you, for most mobile DJs, wedding DJs, the 935, if you're going to get a 15-inch, the 935 is probably the right move. I'll be honest. 945 is unbelievable. Anyone that has used it, owns it, has heard it, will tell you that it is a serious speaker. It is really top of the line when it comes to a 15 in this price point, under 2,000, in my opinion, for everything that you get and what you can do with it. I can't really talk about many other speakers that offer this much value. It's all about value for me and the performance of it, obviously. And then, of course, you get just incredible sound quality. So it really comes down to your budget, what your needs are. I got to believe if you're looking at a 3-inch driver, maybe the 4-inch driver does make sense to you. And in that situation, having that extra oomph and then just the overall sound output with the larger titanium neodymium compression driver on there, is something that definitely has value. So the 915, again, is going to be your standard. So for your basic cookie cutter Hilton, I don't know what the standard is now to even say for catering halls. If you guys know and girls know out there, please tell me. Hilton, Sheraton, what is it nowadays? What do people know? Hyatt, right? But that type of ballroom, 150 people, the 915 is probably just fine. 20 by 20 dance floor, but you can't go wrong either way. Listen, I understand the concept of you can always turn it down. I like that concept, to be quite honest. I recommend that concept. But everyone has a budget. So listen, we don't want anyone not feeding their family this month or anything like that because they want the bigger compression driver. But also, listen, these speakers, I know people that are using 7 Series now since the mid 2000s, MK1s that are still going strong. So these speakers are going to have a long life for you. And it is something that you do want to think long term about. But at the same time, you don't necessarily need to buy something that you'll never use the headroom on it. It's like, so that's really a personal thing. And really, those are the major differences there. Anybody have any questions? I've got a hard cut off today. But got a few more minutes left here. So that's the 915, 945, and the 935, all in stock and available right now at djsupply.store.com. Also, if you want to read up on the RCF ART9 series, go to the djsguru.com. Got a whole everything that we talked about broken down in a lovely blog digital format for you. So go check that out. I'll drop the link in the comments for everybody. But I thought it would be good to come on and share with you guys and kind of go through everything. And girls, of course. What's the weight difference between what? 915, 935, 945? I'm going to go to RCF's site really quick because what I saw with the 945 didn't make sense. So I'm going to go and check this out. Is that what you're asking? What's up, Vincent? How are you? I think that's what he's asking. Yes. Hey, all right. The other thing I'm going to do really quickly. All right, hold on. Sorry, everyone. Bear with me. Now, I'm on here as underneath the brand, the DJ's Guru. We're a guide. Can't give you bad advice or bad information. Not publicly, at least. We're certainly not perfect. I don't think anybody is, right? But we do our best to try to give you the most solid, trustworthy information we can. I can't get on their site here. Okay. So ART910. We'll do it this way. Thank you, Google. There we go. 48 pounds. ART 935. I should have a drum roll going with this. Where are the specs? Here we go. Thank you for your patience, everybody. I want to answer your questions, though. £53. It is right. So the ART 935 weighs more than the 915, which makes sense. Now the question becomes, what is the weight of the 945? Now, based on that, you'd think it might be heavier, right? And I thought I saw that it was lighter before, which didn't make sense. That's why I'm doing this. But let's take a look. 945 has a weight. Drum roll, please. 49 pounds. The 935 weighs more. What's up, Vincent? So the 935 weighs 53 pounds, and the 945 weighs 49.38. I can't answer why. I'd love to know. I don't know why. Great question. Okay, I might know why. The compression driver on the 945 is titanium. That's a big reason why it's more expensive. Is the 935 titanium? I forgot about that. Hold on. We'll all learn together, right? I like that. It's a titanium neodymium. It's just so the specs are the same there, and I believe that might be the same with all of them, really. But anyway, that's the weight difference on the 915, 935, 945. What's up, Ryan? How are you? 91075 combo. Unreal, right? I use it with the 905. So and that's a really great segue because we'll go back to which subs. So here's what I recommend, and it all depends on sub. So they got 702 and 902, 705 and 905. Okay. And then I'm just going to try to show you pictures, but we'll just jot these down really quickly. 702, 705, 718, or sub 902 or sub 905. Or if you want to get really crazy, sub 8003 or 8004. But I don't think if you're using ART9 series, you want to get involved with the 8004. You got to start to it's a whole nother world when you get into that sub. The 8003, you can kind of still live in a larger vehicle type thing. You get an 8004, it's time for a box truck or a big van, something like that. What's up, Willie Will? Oh, the 905, that's my favorite. So sub 905, which is in stock right now. We just got some back in at djsupplystore.com, I believe. 131 dB, they are in stock, $19.99. Now, this is my favorite sub because essentially at 133 dB, it goes from 40 to 120 hertz frequency response on the low end. A 3-inch voice coil. The voice coil is really like the mechanism in the sub that everything is driven by, right? So the larger it is, usually the better the sub is going to be. The voice coil is 3-inch on this. Here's the best part about it, though, and what I love. I showed this once in the story. First of all, you can fit it in the front seat of a crossover, which I don't have the picture, but how many subs with this amount of power that sound like this could you say that about? Not many. I put it in the front seat of a crossover when I had to one time. And it only weighs 77 pounds. So sub 905 is definitely one of my favorites. And you can pair that with really any of the ARTs. You may want to, I don't know about the 945. Maybe not, but the 935 and on down, I think would be fine. I use it with the 932 and it sounds phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I'll drop a link right here now, but the sub 905, great price. It's very portable. It is, I should probably do a review video on it, but it's hard to really have you listen to it, but it's a great sub, and it really does go with any of these. 910, 912, 932 really would be my picks and recommendations. Also, even NX, which is really just the wooden version of ART 932, NX32 or NX 910, I believe, would go great with it as well. The sub 8003 is basically the 18-inch version of this. And if you're looking for and this is backward, it's $22.99. Looking for a really great 18-inch sub that is portable. I think that's the main thing. I think you can definitely get better sounding 18-inch subs, but it's very difficult to find an 18-inch sub. Obviously RCF makes better ones. So this particular sub, the design of it is really the best part, in the size and really everything all together. So it's kind of unique in that way, where I know many people that will use it as like, I can't do an event that requires me any more than this without having to go and buy another vehicle and invest there, and it may not be worth it for me to do that. These are events that I do. So that's the 8003. I'm not going to go through all the specs on the subs, but I just wanted everyone to be aware. All right, we've got tops now. We need subs, right? You can certainly use, and that's why I always say, if you're not going to use a sub, the thought is, I'm going to use a 15, but it really defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do that, because you're bringing heavier speakers, and then everything you think you're getting out of it, you're really not. So those smaller gigs, if you're doing the bigger gigs, you really do need sub. You do need a sub. It's just going to balance out the sound. It's going to allow the tops to work more and better and direct the sound and the frequency ranges that are needed up top. And you're going to have your low end being taken care of the low end. This is always a common question. Is the 705 the same sub on Evox 12s? No, it's not. They come out of the same factory. They look similar, but understand that the Evox 12 is a system. So the Evox 12 sub, the 15-inch sub on there, is powering the top. So there's a whole mechanism inside of that sub that allows it to work as a portable column array system. It's 1400 watts. Specs on it are similar. It sounds similar. Do they do they use similar components? Most likely. I honestly don't know the answer specifically, but I can tell you it's not the same sub. It's not just, not the same sub. Interesting, though, if you are using Evox 12, because of what I just told you, the Evox 12 top gets powered by the bottom, right? So if you ever did need to use the Evox 12 sub as just a sub, you can do that. And I actually have taken a poll, believe it or not, in another situation where I needed a little bit more directivity. I'm not going to lift it up. I put the 910 on my Evox 12 sub. It sounded great. So you could do that. And yeah, no, it's again, Joe, it's not the same. They're similar, So that's the scoop with that. Anybody else have any other questions? I've got a few minutes here before we wrap it up, and I think at this point I will kind of throw in some final thoughts. Now I've had the 910 since before they came out, 2 years now, well over. Yeah, over 2 years. What year are we in? 23? I've had them since 2021. So, and I've used them a lot. Fantastic. 932s I got last summer when I got into a world that I wasn't expecting to be in. And I said, yeah, my Evox 12 and my 910 system is not going to cut it anymore. I need to, thank you, sir. I need to upgrade and grow the system, but still use the system that I have without having to completely change everything over. So I got the 932s and was able to kind of space everything and position everything properly to scale my system and cover the area that I needed to cover. What's your thoughts on speaker covers? I think you should use them. I'm not sure what you're asking. RCF speaker covers are actually very good. If you can get them, right now they're tough to get. So it's, for me, the 932s, I actually, and my 910, believe it or not, because of the way, when I got them, you couldn't even get covers, and I needed covers. These are, again, ABS boxes, so you don't want them not covered. They could scratch for sure, so you don't want to even take a chance. I had to buy, we have a brand called Stag, and they're pretty good. They haven't broken or anything. I don't love the way they look, but they're functional. They work fine, and they are available. So, but RCF covers are great if you can get them. I definitely recommend going with them. Undercover, Tukey covers. I always send people over to Tukey covers. No skin in my game, no skin in that game at whatsoever, other than I've literally purchased from them myself in a pinch, or I've even had them make speaker covers for customers. So Tukey covers, TUKI, they're pretty solid too. If you can't find something, they're also sometimes willing to do custom stuff, but you got to reach out. Everything is, and also made here in the United States, which is cool. They're in, I want to say Michigan, someplace in the Midwest over there. So Tukey covers, but RCF definitely the way to go if you can get them. 100%. That's my thought on that. So thanks for your question, and thanks everybody for watching. But final thoughts are, you can't go wrong. I lived in a world where everything was K series and PRX and ETX, ELX, EKX, and ETX I absolutely love. But I think if you were one of those QSC K12 users and you switch to a 912 or a 932, you're going to be so amazed by the difference in the sound quality. It's just night and day. Now, I love QSC. I've sold hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars probably worth of QSC speakers, and they're very good for what they were and what they are. Back when they were $799, you can get them for, God, sometimes people were selling them for under $600. At that price, fantastic and super reliable workhorse of a speaker. But I always thought it didn't sound phenomenal, and it was a little bit too bright, a little bit too loud for me. And I knew how to tune it, but many people didn't. So when I heard them, I could always tell. With RCF, you don't need to do that. It's done for you. The DSP is built in. It's constantly listening. They're almost impossible to blow, and they just sound better. And when your gigs sound better, you look and sound better. And promise you, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Customer, client, anyone at an event, they never know when it sounds good. It's supposed to sound good. They know when it sounds bad, though, right? And that's what you want to avoid. And that's if you're in a club environment or an environment where you're in hospitality. If it starts to sound distorted and it hurts my ears, I'm out. I'm leaving. I don't want that, right? So you want to keep people in the room, or if you're doing a wedding and you want to keep people happy and engaged and not have grandma and grandpa complaining, you want clean sound, and that will completely enhance your brand. Trust me. So anyway, that's it, everyone. I think I've said it all. I think I've said enough, right? Talk. But I'm going to throw on a jam here from my boys over at artlist.io. I like this one, Strawberry. And I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Thank you for watching on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. If you guys have any questions, please drop them down below. Really appreciate the support. Check us out at djsuppliestore.com. Thank you, Vincent, for watching. And we'll see you soon. All right, everybody? See you on the flip side. Peace.